Hello. Yeah, and I don't know. So this isn't really antinatalism discussion, but yeah, so global warming prevention. So basically like I just had this job as a janitor and I noticed that, like huge amounts of trash were just being thrown in the dumpster and then it's like, okay, well, I talked to that guy after I'd quit and everything and just said, well, stated my complaint. It was that, we're not recycling and everything. Well, his, rationality or his rationalization would say that, okay, well, we're going to be recycling in the future. And then what is my job? To just convince everybody that, we're supposed to be recycling and not just throwing everything away because, to my knowledge, there was like maybe, like three or four people recycling in the entire building filled of, 300 to 500 people. So 300 to 500 people are throwing away trash and then maybe 3% are, recycling and maybe 3% are vegan, and I'm just supposed to like reach out to those people or find those people and connect with those people and just say like, yes, like we're on the right path. Like, let's just do this for the next 20 years of our lives and, everything will get better. I mean, obviously there's vegans out there that have families and need to provide for their children. And there's vegans out there like myself that aren't in that position where they can actually try to endeavor to persevere in some sort of career or career path where, um, it would be substantially greater for the environment than just throwing away trash into a dumpster. Where trash gets dumped out into the sea or trash gets into landfills or trash is just all over the place. There's no accountability for us throwing away trash, where the only real accountability is, or the only real accountability there is lies in recycling, and nobody wants to recycle. So I don't know if I got to get the hell out of this town or whatever, but yeah, basically, just for people, just it would be smart to be inclined by a job that is worth their while. So for me, just doing a job that isn't just a bribe, that isn't just money to put a roof over my head, because I'm not in this for just having a roof over my head. I think that's completely stupid. I don't like I've never once I mean, I've been under the delusion that I could foresee myself having a retirement plan and being retired and everything, but then I would never put myself through um the necessary tasks or years, decades even to be in that to keep myself in that position, because what would I have done for the world, or what would I have done for, my community or anything like that. So, again, um, convincing people is very hard. Convincing people that, meat is murder, convincing people that, gas is murdering the planet. Using cars and everything is murdering the planet. Like all these things are very like people just aren't gonna be convinced. So they're not buying it. They're basically not buying, and that's like this big Republican side or the red side. Like they're just not buying that um global warming is real, or that climate change is real. It's just the same old hurricanes and the same old earthquakes. And that's it. They're not getting worse. The winters aren't becoming longer or anything, or snow isn't becoming worse in certain areas, and summers aren't becoming hotter. Like all this stuff is just happening because that's just sort of it's just a conspiracy, you know what I mean? And that's their logic. Like that's the Republicans' logic. And that's not something that I want to be a part of. I don't want to be a part of that system where people are just delusionally thinking that all everything is going to be okay. I prefer some sort of prevention or preservation of the planet um, before having to handle all of these difficulties in space travel and all of this stuff. So, um, and again, that's sort of like the counterbalance to global warming. Like space travel is it's almost like space travel has become the cure for global warming because we're ruining this earth. It's going to be okay because we're going to be leaving this earth, where I don't think that's actually true. I mean, I think we'd obviously, I mean, so, that's not exactly really the right argument to say because, I don't need to clean everything in my apartment to go out and be like a decent employee. Just like we don't have to clean everything up on the earth to go to other planets and everything. But when we haven't even done that yet, when we haven't even civilized, when we haven't even um had civilization on other planets, and we're saying, that we're going to go out and do this on other planets. I mean, that's a much bigger deal than just saying, I'm one individual that's going to go to the gas station and put on my uniform and give people potato chips all day. Like, that's a much bigger thing than saying the human race is going to go to Mars and colonize Mars. That's just what I think. So there is some logic in saying, that we can't really do anything until we've taken care of our planet. And then there's also some logic in saying that, well, we may never even um, get off this planet, or that getting off this planet or colonizing Mars might not be worthwhile. But there's only things that we can do now. There's only things that we have in our power to do now. So I don't know if that's getting like environmental jobs or environmentally sustainable jobs like recycling or wind energy or solar energy, um, other energy like that, water energy and stuff. So if all these jobs were in focus, if all the jobs that we're supposed to be taking care of ourselves were in focus, then there'd be a much better cause to just have everybody working these environmentally sustainable jobs than there would be to endorse war. Now that's the other half. We have to endorse war because we have to protect our country and all of that stuff, which is a huge distraction from the real matters going on in the world. So um, yeah, the other idea would be to just not work for basically these people that are endorsing meat or murder. So the people that endorse meat or murder, you don't work for them, and anytime you would work for them, it would just be a bribe. It would just be, and you have to look at it that way. Well, I was working for this janitorial company, and 3% of the people are actually recycling in the entire place, in the entire building. And I'm not just gonna sit there and say, it's just there's just no um efficiency in me protesting something like throwing away trash when that's what I'm doing when everybody is recycling. So I can't just walk around telling everybody recycle when that's not my job. I'll get fired. Um, so maybe I should work towards getting fired from jobs instead of walking out of jobs. There's probably a lot more efficiency in getting fired from jobs than walking out of jobs. I just really haven't, wanted to, just because I haven't wanted to get in trouble with the law, or I haven't wanted to be like that with people. I just see people as really insufficient and maliciously, uh, like sort of unpurposeful in their actions and everything. So yeah. Um, I mean, what's that saying? Like, if you can't beat them, join them. Like, I mean, that's basically what we should be doing. But in the other sense, in the sense that um, we have to go against these people. I mean, we can't just take bribes from the meat eaters or the uh, people who endorse murder. We have to do something that, I guess obliges their existence. I mean, we have to do something that makes them think that they're right and we're wrong. Um, which won't happen. I mean, it's just an inevitable truth. So how do I foresee myself getting around that is just trying to work environmental jobs, if any job at all, because there's going to be people in there who aren't, for the environment, or who aren't playing their role. But that's the thing. Like, there's people in environmental jobs who really don't care about the environment, and then there's people who care about the environment in non-environmental jobs. So I mean, we should be able to balance this out. I don't see why it hasn't already been balanced out in the first place. I mean, the only reason it hasn't been is because people are just taking bribes from other people. People are just being bribed to keep their apartments or their houses or their cars, or they have to provide for their family and all this stuff. And this is just the destructiveness in our society today. So we have to be more efficient in how we receive money. So, um, I mean, if more vegans or vegetarians or environmentalists would take the stand and say, no, this isn't right. I'm not going to work for these people. I can't even look these people in the eye. I'm not going to have this false sense of hope, or this false premise of hope, where that someday they're going to change, and I'm not going to have to give my last dying breath for them to change. I'm going to work for these people still. Like, I mean, if more people were standing up to the fact that, that isn't likely to happen, or that shouldn't happen, or that we shouldn't be endorsing something like that, then maybe more people would be in my position, and more people would be willing to, stand up for something, and more people would be willing to talk about this. But not a lot of people are really willing to endorse the ideas and thoughts that they put out there. They're just willing to put them out on YouTube, I guess. They're not really willing to take them out into their own lives. And that's the shitty fact of reality. So, yeah.